Hello viewers, I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. India's growing influence in the global south is highlighted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visits to Nigeria, Brazil and Guyana. These diplomatic efforts have strengthened partnerships in defense, security and economic cooperation. Furthermore, India's proactive leadership at global forums like the G20 and COP29 underscores the commitment to advancing the interest of developing nations, particularly on crucial issues such as climate change. Through these actions, India is solidifying its role as a key global player. Take a look at how the country is shaping a more inclusive and impactful future for the global south.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visits to Nigeria, Brazil and Guyana highlight India's growing influence in the global south. His first visit to Nigeria since 2007 strengthened bilateral ties with a focus on defense cooperation, counter-terrorism and tackling regional challenges like piracy and drug trafficking. PM Modi was awarded Nigeria's highest honor, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, a testament to the nation's strong partnership. Over 200 Indian companies operate in Nigeria, addressing shared issues such as poverty, pollution and population growth.
The relationship between India and Nigeria has been historical. We had started our diplomatic presence in Nigeria 2 years before their independence by starting diplomatic office in 1958 in Lagos. Since then, the relationship has been very carefully nurtured by the leadership of both the countries through exchange of visits. The political relationship, both bilateral and in the multilateral level, has been quite strong. The trade and economic relations has also been quite good over here. More than 200 Indian companies have invested more than $27 billion in the Nigerian economy, and they are the second largest employers after the Nigerian government.
India is actively advocating for reforms in global institutions to ensure that developing nations have a stronger voice in shaping global governance. During its G20 presidency last year, India took a significant step by bringing the African Union into the G20 summit, making it the second regional bloc to join after the European Union. Building on this momentum, Prime Minister Modi's participation in Brazil's 2024 G20 summit further highlights India's growing influence on the global stage. His involvement in key discussions surrounding food, energy and health security underscores India's leadership in shaping solutions to the world's most pressing challenges. Additionally, during his visit to Guyana, PM Modi outlined 7 key initiatives aimed at strengthening ties with the Caribbean region, reaffirming India's total commitment to the area.
Guyana has benefited enormously from India. Our human capital, training through scholarships, military exchange program, concessional loans, grants, our first international stadium, investment from the Indian Exim Bank, cultural exchanges, support in our medical field. In every sphere of national development, we can point to physical, institutional, and systemic support from the government and people of India.
At COP29 in Azerbaijan, India voiced the concerns of the global south, highlighting the disproportionate climate burden faced by developing nations. The country emphasized key actions for global climate efforts while stressing that the ambitious, action-oriented approach relies on bold commitments from the world's leading economies to support climate actions in developing countries. India's climate efforts are central to its global strategy for addressing the climate crisis, particularly through its commitment to renewable energy. A shining example of this commitment is the Bhadla Solar Park in Rajasthan, where vast rows of solar panels stretch across the arid landscape.
India is going to generate at least 2 million jobs only in the renewable sector in the next 2 years, minimum 2 million, and this is the direct jobs, and the indirect jobs are another 1 million, and then there is a secondary sector also, for example the packing department or packing industry, so they will also generate a lot of jobs.
By addressing shared challenges such as economic development, climate change and global security, India is positioning itself as a key player in reshaping global governance. Through its proactive diplomacy and leadership, India is advocating for a more inclusive and balanced global system that makes into account the needs and aspirations of the global South.
Moving on. Protests erupted across Pakistan's Sindh province against the controversial plan to dig 6 canals aimed at irrigating Punjab's lands. The rallies, backed by political, religious and nationalist groups, condemned the project, warning it could severely harm Sindh's water supply and agricultural sector. Leaders argued that the canals would lead to a loss of vital water flows, devastating crops and threatening the Indus River ecosystem.
Widespread rallies were held across Pakistan's Sindh province in opposition to the controversial plan to dig 6 canals to irrigate lands in Punjab. The protests saw participation from almost all political and religious parties, nationalist groups and civil society organizations. Although the Pakistan People's Party chose to stay out of the street protests, it firmly rejected the canal project in no uncertain terms. According to reports, the largest rallies took place in Hyderabad and Larkana. During their speeches, protest leaders strongly condemned the canal project, demanding that it be scrapped, as they argued it posed a grave threat to Sindh's very existence.
इसका मकसद ये है कि जो सिंध में हो रहा है, जो सिंध के पानी दरियाओं के साथ हो रहा है, जो सिंध दरिया के साथ हो रहा है, वो सिंध की ज़मीन को, सिंध की धरती को बंजर कर देगा। तो इसके खिलाफ हम प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि ये पानी और ख़ास तौर से आप सोचें कि औरतों की ज़िंदगियों पे कितना असर होगा, बच्चों की ज़िंदगियों पे कितना असर होगा। तो हम अपने सिंध में औरतों पे जो तशद्दुद है उसके खिलाफ भी आवाज़ उठा रहे हैं।
Protesters warned that the construction of these canals would result in Sindh losing its vital water flows, further devastating its already struggling agricultural sector. They argued that the rulers had already caused significant damage to Sindh's agriculture, and if the 6 canals were constructed, the province would have a catastrophic loss of vital water flows. The protesters emphasized that any attempt to seize Sindh's water, lands, islands or minerals would not be tolerated. Chanting fierce slogans against the canal project, the protesters vowed to resist not only its implementation but also any changes to the IRSA Act, which regulates water distribution across Pakistan. They declared their commitment to safeguarding their rights to water, emphasizing that any alterations to the Act would only deepen the injustice they face. The leaders accused the government of trying to systematically deplete Sindh's water resources and ruin its agricultural sector through calculated measures.
1 करोड़ लोग डिसलोकेट होंगे। कराची शहर 2 करोड़ लोग उधर रहते हैं, उनका पानी 50-70% बंद होगा। ये हमें कबूल नहीं है। अगर आप आइन का एहतराम, 91 अकॉर्ड का एहतराम नहीं करते, आप तरीक़ाए पानी की सिस्टम को CCI के बजाय प्रेसिडेंशियल ऑर्डर और इंटीरियर मिनिस्टर और जनरल बैठ के फैसला करेंगे। अगर हमारे बीच में आइन नहीं है तो फिर कोई रियासत नहीं है, फिर कोई सूबा किसी आइन का पाबंद नहीं होगा।
Reports suggest that groundwork for 4 of the 6 canals is already underway, prompting protest leaders to condemn the project as economic murder for farmers who depend on a stable water supply. Similar rallies were held across various cities and towns in Sindh, signalling a growing wave of opposition to the project. The protests reflect a broad consensus among people from all sectors of society, with farmers, environmentalists and citizens alike expressing deep concern over the project's potential to destroy Sindh's agricultural heritage and undermine the long-term sustainability of its natural resources. The widespread protests are a clear indication that Sindh's future, both agricultural and environmental, is at risk.
Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent. This autumn, Yokohama city resonated with music during the 4-day event Live Yokohama. The city continues its efforts to become an even more vibrant and comfortable place to live. A standout feature of the event was a jazz band formed by local residents, bringing together both young and senior musicians. They delighted audiences with jazz renditions of popular anime songs. Yokohama boasts a rich connection to jazz. In 1925, the city hosted its first jazz performance, and by 1933, a dedicated jazz cafe had opened its doors.
ライブ横浜なんですが、今年初めて立ち上げたイベントになります。この4日間で30を超えるステージをこの街中に展開いたしまして、あらゆる音楽とあとライブパフォーマンスを展開いたします。ここ5年間ぐらいで2万人規模のケアアリーナさんが開かれたり、ピアアリーナさんができたりということで、たくさんのホールがこの横浜に集結してきていると。音楽を聴きたいお客様にですね、たくさんこれから横浜に来ていただきたいというふうに思ってございます。
High school students also showcased their talent during the festival, performing music with wind instruments. 10 brass bands from schools nationwide participated, each with 50 to 100 students. These young musicians took on the challenge of performing beloved Japanese songs that have remained popular for over 70 years, preserving this timeless music for the younger generation. Yokohama citizens also had
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to say that
挑戦するテック系スタートアップの集積地へと発展させていく、グローバル水準のエコシステムを構築してまいります。
Tech Hub Yokohama embodies a passion for fostering new businesses. By cultivating global startups and unicorn companies, Yokohama City is adding a dynamic new dimension to its global appeal. As Bangladesh struggles with deepening political and human rights crisis, the interim government led by Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus faces growing pressure to deliver on its promises of reform and free elections. While Yunus has outlined plans for electoral changes, his assurances have not been enough to quell fears of continued instability. Amid rising violence and attacks on minorities, critics argue that Yunus is more focused on political retribution rather than addressing the immediate needs of the people. A report.
Bangladesh remains in a state of political uncertainty, with its future hanging in the balance, as the interim government continues to grapple with the pressing issue of electoral reform. Political parties including the Bangladesh Nationalist Party led by former Prime Minister Khalida Zia have been pressing the interim government for a clear plan to hold a national election as soon as possible. Despite mounting pressure from political parties, Yunus has yet to give a definitive timeline. The BNP and other opposition parties have demanded a clear plan to hold the election as soon as possible. However, Yunus has stated that while he cannot guarantee the full scope of reforms, he is committed to implementing essential changes and holding elections once those reforms are in place.
আমি নিশ্চিত নই সংস্কার প্রস্তাবসমূহ বাস্তবায়নের সুযোগ আমরা কতটুকু পাব। তবে আমি আপনাদের কথা দিচ্ছি, আপনারা সুযোগ দিলে প্রয়োজনীয় কিছু অত্যাবশ্যকীয় সংস্কার কাজ শেষ করেই আমরা আপনাদের কাঙ্ক্ষিত নির্বাচন আয়োজন করব। ততদিন পর্যন্ত আমি আপনাদের ধৈর্য ধারণ করার অনুরোধ করব। আমরা চাইব আমরা যেন এমন একটি নির্বাচন ব্যবস্থা সৃষ্টি করতে পারি যা যুগ যুগ ধরে অনুসরণ করা যাবে। এর ফলে সাংবৎসরিক রাজনৈতিক সংকট থেকে আমাদের দেশ রক্ষা পাবে। এই জন্য প্রয়োজনীয় সময়টুকু আমি আপনাদের কাছ থেকে চেয়ে নিচ্ছি।
As Bangladesh faces its most severe political and human rights crisis in years, Yunus' promises of reform and justice appear more like a stalling tactic than a genuine plan for change. While his rhetoric may offer hope to some, it falls short of addressing the urgent need for free and fair elections, accountability for the violence, and a return to democratic governance. For many in the country, the interim government's assurances do little to alleviate fears of ongoing political instability. With time running out and patience wearing thin, the people of Bangladesh are left questioning whether true change will ever materialize. Amid a deteriorating security situation and escalating attacks on minorities, Yunus seems more focused on bringing Sheikh Hasina back to face punishment rather than fulfilling his primary duty to protect the lives and rights of Bangladesh's citizens.
জুলাই আগস্ট হত্যাকাণ্ডের বিচারের যে উদ্যোগ আমরা নিয়েছি তার কাজও বেশ ভালোভাবে এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে। পতিত স্বৈরাচার শেখ হাসিনাকেও আমরা ভারতের কাছ থেকে ফেরত চাইব। কেবল জুলাই আগস্ট হত্যাকাণ্ডই নয়, আমরা গত 15 বছরে সব অপকর্মের বিচার করব।
As the country grapples with an escalating crisis, it is imperative that Yunus shifts his focus to preserving national stability and safeguarding the security of the people. The urgency for meaningful action and reform has never been greater, and Yunus must prioritize the nation's well-being over political conflicts. With Bangladesh facing its most severe political and human rights challenges in years, the interim leader's promises of reform and justice will require more than rhetoric to earn the trust of a weary population. Effective, decisive leadership is essential to restore confidence and navigate the nation's difficult path forward.
Devotees across India united in joyous celebration to mark the birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the revered founder of Sikhism. The occasion, known as Guru Nanak Jayanti or Prakash Parv, was observed with deep devotion, prayers and vibrant festivities at Gurudwaras nationwide. In Amritsar, thousands of pilgrims gathered at the Golden Temple, taking holy dips in the sacred Amrit Sarovar and offering heartfelt prayers. Take a look.
Devotees across India came together in large numbers to celebrate the 555th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev, the founder of Sikhism, with immense devotion, grand celebrations and heartfelt prayers. The occasion, known as Guru Nanak Jayanti or Prakash Parv, is one of the most significant religious festivals for Sikhs, observed with deep reverence at Gurudwaras across the nation. In Punjab's Amritsar, where the Golden Temple, the holiest shrine of Sikhism, stands, thousands of Sikh devotees gathered to honor the birth of their revered Guru. The atmosphere was filled with devotion as worshippers from across India and abroad arrived to pay their respects. Many devotees took a holy dip in the sacred Amrit Sarovar, a traditional practice believed to purify the soul. The temple complex was beautifully illuminated and the air was alive with the sound of hymns and chants, creating a spiritually charged ambience. Devotees lit candles and offered prayers at the temple, reflecting the central tenets of Sikhism: love, humility and devotion to one God.
आज धन धन श्री गुरु नानक देव जी का प्रकाश पूर्व है और जब देखा जाए यहाँ से दूर दूर से संगत आई है नतमस्तक होने। सुबह से ही अमृत वेले से ही संगत यहाँ पे आ रही है। और जे बात करें अभी जो दीपमाला हुई है, आतिशबाजी हुई है और अलौकिक नज़ारा था, बहुत खूबसूरत नज़ारा देखने को मिला और मन को बहुत सुकून मिला।
As night fell over Amritsar, the Golden Temple became a stunning light. The entire temple complex lit up with shimmering lights that reflected off the peaceful waters of the Amrit Sarovar, creating a serene and magical atmosphere. The golden walls of the temple sparkled under the lights, giving off a warm, divine glow that felt peaceful and sacred. The temple's intricate design, with its beautiful domes and golden plating, appeared even more majestic in the soft light, symbolizing the spiritual light Guru Nanak Dev brought to the world. Adding to the beauty, a spectacular fireworks display lit up the sky, filling the air with joy and devotion.
अद्भुत था, देखने के लिए बहुत अच्छा था, मन को सुकून मिल गया। ऐसी आतिशबाजी हमने कभी नहीं देखी।
The significance of Guru Nanak Jayanti was felt not only in Amritsar but across India, where similar scenes of devotion unfolded. This grand celebration, filled with rituals, prayers and a sense of togetherness, serves as a reminder of Guru Nanak's enduring legacy, which continues to guide millions on the path of peace and spiritual fulfillment.
A day of devotion, unity and celebration. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's light shines bright across the nation. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Goodbye and take care.